Welcome to the Heal with Jill podcast. I'm your host, Jill Yiter. Each week, I share one short, digestible episode to help you create clarity and ease in your wellness story. I'll be exploring self-care, intuition, mindfulness, intentional living, and more. If you enjoy a fresh perspective, agree that life is not black and white, and want to improve your relationship with yourself, then you're in the right place. Hi there. Welcome to episode 8 of the Heal with Jill podcast today. We will be discussing the next area on the wheel of health, which includes healthy relationships and communication. And I specifically am going to kind of address that from a standpoint of listening deeply and clearly articulating yourself when you're the speaker in a relationship. So just so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from, the angle I'm coming from is that I feel like the goal in any relationship is harmony and interdependence. And this does not necessarily mean that conflict won't arise. In fact, it's healthy to have conflict and then be able to navigate it in ways that move the relationship forward. It's really important that everyone feels seen and heard. And so we're going to talk about a few things that can help with that. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is something called deep listening. And deep listening is a skill that anyone can learn or practice. And maybe some of us are naturally better listeners, better empathizers, but it's not to say that anyone can't become a deep listener, especially when you care about your relationships and you care about other people. It makes sense that you would want to be able to become a better listener in this context. So I'm going to share some indicators that you're a deep listener or that you're listening deeply in just a moment. But first of all, I just want you to, the next time you have an interaction, just make a mental note to yourself so that the next time you have an interaction with someone, I just want you to pay attention to if you're either listening deeply or if you are being listened to deeply. So here we go. Some of those indicators of deep listening would include allowing the other person to complete their thoughts without interrupting. So just letting them get everything out. And then when there's a natural pause in the conversation, you can respond by reflecting back to them the general feeling or the theme you're perceiving. So this might mean stating back something, again, without interruption, such as, I can see this is challenging for you, or I sense this is really frustrating. And then a step further would be asking some questions that can help them clarify their thoughts and feelings a bit further. So a counselor on average, if they're a good counselor, is particularly skilled at these at fielding questions that help someone piece together their story in a way that is not so fragmented, so that they feel like they have a sense of ownership over it, which is kind of what we're getting at here. But again, anyone can help in a listening context, help someone kind of piece things together by asking the right questions. So something might be, well, do you know why you feel that way? Or what evidence do you have to support this? Or, is this a core belief that you have that you may actually not believe? So those are just a few examples. And then the next thing in deep listening is that you're not afraid to allow silence. So you don't feel like you have to, even if the speaker pauses, you don't feel like you have to just constantly fill up the space with chatter. It's okay to just provide silence. And in fact, I would say that your primary role as the listener is to just be the backdrop, like just the example of presence behind what is being said. And so, some of us are good at listening to others, but maybe not so good at listening to ourselves. And so that's really the role that you're providing as the listener, is being the kind, compassionate, patient party in the conversation so that the speaker can actually hear themselves. And then the next thing would be just refraining from trying to fix anything. So it's not your job to solve anything regarding what the speaker is talking to you about. If they specifically ask you to help troubleshoot something or brainstorm some ideas, that's fine, but it is not your primary role to fix or solve anything. And then the next indicator of deep listening is that you're able to show empathy in your body language and your voice. And then you're also able to recognize that you may have your own emotional response to what the speaker is saying, but you're able to not be reactive to it. And so this is like particularly so maybe like in an intimate relationship where the conversation involves you. But when you're the listener, it is really your job just to listen. It's not that you won't have a chance to articulate yourself when you're the speaker, but for now, as the listener, you will gain so much more if you just be in the role of listening. And it's not about rejecting or denying your own emotional response, but it's just about acknowledging that, okay, I recognize something is coming up in myself, but there will be time to address that when I get to speak. And then another really good indicator that you're listening deeply is that you're able to sense the underlying need or emotion of the conversation or what the speaker is saying. So there might be all this chatter, kind of the surface stuff that the speaker is going on about, for lack of a better way of describing it. But maybe you're really good and you're getting better and getting more practiced at kind of sensing what the underlying feeling or emotion is. And then you're able to like put a tag on it, like name it or a little label. And so then you're able to reflect that back to the speaker. And then that helps them gain some clarity. So I had mentioned that I had recently read a really great book it was kind of all about deep listening. So the name of the book is called Focusing by Eugene Gendlin, I think is how you say his last name, but that information will be in the show notes, of course, but it really is a terrific resource if you would like to improve your deep listening skills. So now let's shift a little bit to what happens when you're the speaker. So in healthy communication, the speaker has equal responsibility to be honest and as clear as possible about what they are sharing. And so this usually includes directly stating or asking for what you need using a statement such as, I need. And then sometimes this can be preceded by a statement such as, I can see or I feel. And that's particularly helpful if the conversation is challenging or if you feel your personal power slipping. So let's look at an example in this kind of context of it being a challenging interaction. So maybe just say that you're trying to help a client understand some difficult results and she's getting frustrated and impatient, and you can sense your own energy starting to get drained and you still have other clients to work with throughout the day. So here's a couple things that you could try saying. First of all, you could just say, I can see. So here's the I can see statement. I can see this is challenging. And then the next step is to use an I can feel statement. So I feel it may be best to stop for now. You can take these results with you and get back to me with questions when you're ready. And then an I need statement would be something like, please excuse me, I need to move on to my next appointment now. And then if need be, it's important to also have an exit strategy in place. So in this example, if she's not getting the message that you're done, then physically getting up and walking to your door, opening the door, and just holding it open. So having a physical exit strategy. And I think it's good to also note that I feel like honesty and intimacy are intertwined. So the less intimate the relationship, the less obligated you are to give details, information. And this may feel dishonest, but it's actually not dishonest. It's respecting the parameters of the relationship. So, for example, if you are in an interaction that gets particularly kind of challenged and you need to exit, that's like self-protection and good boundaries. You're actually not being dishonest and you don't owe them a big explanation about why you need to move on. So it could be as simple as, please excuse me. I need to move on now. So this strategy, I feel like, can be really helpful in diffusing situations when they kind of start to escalate, and it's done in a way that's really elegant. It doesn't assign blame, it doesn't become aggressive, but it still allows you to be like really healthy and assertive, and you can use it in a variety of situations. So again, the general format of that, when you're kind of the one, the speaker or the one moving the conversation forward, is to use an I can see statement, kind of just generally kind of stating what you can sense is going on, and then an I feel statement, and then an I need statement, and then an exit strategy if need be. So, healthy relationships are just so essential for our overall well-being. And sometimes they become unhealthy because we're afraid of conflict, or we don't know how to listen deeply. And so I hope these couple of strategies can help you with that, smooth out some of those edges and create more harmony if that's something that you're feeling kind of challenged with. So, healthy relationships are not about trying to control opinions from differing or control needs from differing, or it's not about that. It's about listening and then being responsive. So, these are some tools that can help you with that. And I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you can apply these ideas in your own relationships. And I look forward to chatting with you again next week. Take care and bye for now. Thanks for joining me this week on the Heal with Jill podcast. You can find all my free resources, including menu planners, mindful movement videos, and more, as well as my coaching and courses at healwithjill.com. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend and give it a rating. Take care and bye for now.